Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Umwe Sit Downs. I am of course your host Brian Akambonde, and today I am joined by Patience Makado, all the way from South Africa. Patience, please welcome.
Thank you so much, Brian. It's nice to be here with you.
Thank you, Patience. It's always a pleasure to have a new face with a new idea to talk about with me. And we've been doing a few to give some context, about this interview and why and what I'll be talking with Patience today is, we've been interested in understanding climate change in Africa. And one of the things that we learned quickly as we started doing research on that and what is kind of like a pressing issue in the realm of climate change or the environment is there seems to be a freshwater crisis continentally, or at least many countries and locations are facing freshwater challenges. And one of the things we came across is the WWF, the Worldwide Fund for Nature, formulated something called the Blue Heart of Africa project, which is really just an agenda, driven to address freshwater challenges, across the continent. But they do have, different sort of like country level sites and teams that are dedicated to addressing freshwater issues, in specific locations. And Patience is tuning in as a representative from one like that in South Africa. And the first question I have for you, Patience, is, what is the Blue Heart of Africa project from your point of view, and can you explain the freshwater crisis that the continent seems to be generally facing? Any kind of stats and context to the scale of that problem would be highly appreciated here.
Okay. To answer your first part, to my understanding, the Blue Heart of Africa is a framework initiative that to ensure that Africa's freshwater resources are effectively managed and conserved. And this is in order to sustain locally and globally important ecosystems, biodiversity, and as well as to provide a foundation for development and to secure livelihoods, especially for people who depend on water resources. The Blue Heart of Africa aims to address 5 main pressure freshwater habitat species in Africa, and this is over abstraction of water resources, inappropriate infrastructure development, aquatic alien invasive species, land transformation, as well as overfishing. And this is done through 4 main impact pathways, which is safeguarding the sources, that's the water sources, ensuring environmental flows, sustainable infrastructure, as well as sustainable community livelihoods. Just to give you maybe a brief statistics, I don't really have statistics per se, but I can tell you that, like for instance, DRC has successfully conserved and restored sources in environmental flows in the Virunga. And in 2020, they actually continued initiating such work and in what they call Maindombe.
Thanks so much for that response, Patience, to your first question there. And now let's talk a bit more about your local work. What local project or effort are you directly involved with as part of WWF and sort of aligned with that Blue Heart of Africa project agenda? And can you tell me a bit more about, the project or local effort you're involved with and what your role is exactly, in that local work?
Okay, thank you. So before I dwell into my main focus area, probably it would just be great to give you a brief overview of the vital statistics of the Blue Heart of South Africa so that you understand how my project joins in. So the Blue Heart of South Africa is made up of 22 water source areas, which were developed by WWF, obviously, as well as 2 research organizations, which is CSIR and Water Resource Center. So the importance with these water source areas is that 10% of the land in South Africa provides 50% of all our surface water. And that same 10% provides 50% of the population with water, 70% of agricultural water for irrigation, as well as 64% of the economy. So it shows that South Africa is an arid country, and it's very important for us to deal with the governance and management of water resources, as well as land management. So we do this through what we call water source partnerships. A water source partnership approach has been used mainly in our strategic water source areas to deal with the poor governance, as well as lack of coordination in the water resources. So my project, where I work in, where I come in, is called the uMthlathuze Water Stewardship Partnership. That's a water source partnership. Directly involved is the uMthlathuze Water Stewardship Partnership project manager. This is a partnership that is located in the uMthlathuze catchment. I won't go into detail what the uMthlathuze catchment is, but it's of importance because it's in the northern part of KwaZulu-Natal, and it's very arid. It's in what is called the Zululand Coastal Plain Aquifer, and it gets its water from obviously the strategic water source areas that I have mentioned. It's 11% from what we call uMthlathuze, 20% from the northern Drakensberg, and 15.7% from the coastal lakes, obviously. So this partnership was catalyzed obviously by a major drought in 2016, and all the projects that we have done actually aim to deal with that water governance, so that we bring out more water and hence reduce the water scarcity. I don't know if I have answered you.
You definitely did. You definitely did. You know, I think you more than answered, but provided the context, right, to really understand what it is that your work was birthed from. And I think one of the seeing that you are more directly involved with essentially mobilizing partnerships to make sure that, you know, South Africa does the best it can, with given that, you know, 50% of, I believe you said, is it all the fresh, or 10% of all I mean 50% of all the fresh water comes from 10% of the land, right? And that's
Yes,
very interesting to learn about. And so I'm very curious to understand a bit more about the sort of challenges and success, yeah, you've been having along that journey, you know, in your role, and I guess the greater project itself. Yeah, what have been some of the challenges and successes that you've been facing and going through along the way?
Okay, it would be nice to start with the successes instead of the challenges. So maybe I can, so that you understand where the successes come from, why I say they are successes. Let me just give you a brief overview of the work areas. So this partnership looks at work in the enhanced coastal lakes in management. Like I told you, some of the water comes from the lakes, some come from other areas. We also try to work with downstream water use efficiency and water losses. That is everything else that is downstream the catchment. We also look at agricultural water stewardship and efficiency, as well as ecological infrastructure that is, for example, for instance, alien invasive plant clearing, as well as wetlands. So for some of our work that we've actually successfully managed to do, looking at those 4 areas, we have had good success in management of water leakages in non-revenue water through what we call the city of uMthlathuze. This is the municipality in the catchment itself. We have done this through gap analysis, identification of the key challenges, pressure analysis, and then we gave them a presentation on the smart meter potential, which they took up, and it reduced obviously those water losses and leakages through non-revenue water. We've also successfully collaborated in the monitoring of dam releases. the uMthlathuze catchment has one major dam, which is called the Hodetro Dam, right? So before the partnership was formed, there were issues on water releases and monitoring of what comes in the dam, what goes out. And this was actually seen during the drought, because then the people downstream didn't have water. So we've managed to actually harness knowledge and expertise from retired dam managers, and we embedded this knowledge within the catchment, and it has improved quite well, and it has simplified the dam release tools and helped Department of Water Affairs to make sure that actually what they release is what is needed, and what comes in is actually conserved properly. We've also managed to strengthen small businesses and smallholder farmers in the area through business development to equip the farmers with optimal production parameters, natural resources management, and approaches to more efficient farming, meaning efficiently using water, efficiently using other resources, but coming up with a product that's really good. We've also managed under that to use water resource management in the agricultural sector, as well as try to bring women into farming. That's like gender equality. Yeah. One other thing that I can actually talk about that we've successfully done is the convening, learning, and coordination in the catchment. That was missing. It's something that was really missing, and everything was disintegrated. There wasn't that coordination. So we've managed to bring all the stakeholders together for obviously the management of the resource properly through government, through private sector, through the community, and just through private people. Through the Catchment Management Forum, I actually chair that forum. It's a forum where we discuss about water issues and we try to resolve them as a catchment, as one group, unlike everybody else doing their own thing. The non-revenue water, I've spoken about it. We've also done climate change strategies as well as action plans in collaboration with everyone. We've done the alien invasive species, that's ecological infrastructure, as well as I've mentioned the catchment monitoring, I've mentioned the WWF, but this is convening, learning, and coordination. It's something that we've brought about everybody else to, yeah.
And what about challenges? Like maybe let's rather reframe it to say, you know, what is critical, right, to your local success in essentially freshwater management, and as well as, you know, on the continental scale, what do you think is critical to the success thereof of what you're trying to achieve locally, and what you think, you know, is maybe a relevant lesson continent-wide of essentially getting to where we want to be in terms of how we manage freshwater. And yeah, I think as you describe that, we will get a glimpse of what the key challenge is, right? Because it's what is critical to the success.
Okay, one thing that is critical for South Africa, obviously, is to secure the strategic water source areas, right? As such, when I filtered down to the catchment, I mentioned obviously that 10% of the land provides 50% of the water. It is therefore critical to protect whatever water resource we have, whether it's in my catchment, whether it's in South Africa. And it's critical for us to ensure good governance through IWRM and collaborative management through the water source partnerships. For the continent, it is the same. It boils down to the same. It is critical to actually make sure that we are successful in integrating and managing these water resources, because it's not only for water, but for the natural resources. The economy in the sub-Saharan Africa, we all know they depend heavily on soil, on water, on energy, and on in vegetation. So it's something that for us to be successful, it is critical for us to have that collaboration, that understanding, that awareness from the stakeholders, be it public, especially the communities. It's something that we need to bring into every work that we do, be it a water source partnership, be it fisheries. That collaboration in that co-learning, that working together is important, because the minute it's missing out, we do not have that integration, and any initiative that we do will not be successful, because we need everybody. It's not like WWF will go there and say, okay, we are going to do A, B, C, D. We go there and convene, bring together people, collaborate, and make sure that it works out. So the challenge actually is bringing those people together. You may find that, okay, there is government here, there is a farmer here. Like, for instance, I'll just give you an example of the work that I do. You find that, okay, this farmer doesn't actually trust the government officials because they are the managing, they own the water resources. This farmer is a user. Bringing them together to give that common understanding that, okay, the farmer is understanding that the department is putting up these tariffs because they need to improve this. And yet as well, the department understanding that this farmer needs this amount of water. So the challenge is in actually bringing together that collaboration. It's important, it's critical. And people are different. Everybody, you need to build trust to then bring them together.
Right, and I think very well said and described about, and thank you so much for the specific example of, potential, right? Kind of, let's just say, maybe miscommunication or different perspectives, yes, right? That can clash and make it difficult to achieve a great progress in essentially navigating the management of fresh water. And I mean, Patience, my last question for you here is one that's more focused now on Patience. And that is, there are many other career paths that you out there that you could have chosen. Why are you doing the work that you're doing today?
Passion. It all boils down to passion. I'm quite passionate about nature conservation, and that idea of knowing that I'm having a positive footprint in the goal of achieving sustainability is something that makes me happy. I think from the beginning, from quite an early age, nature has been my inspiration and my refuge. I actually find solace in maybe sitting in a clean beach, overseeing water, or just being in a forest, listening to those birds singing. So it's something that's so personal to me that I look at nature and think, okay, if we conserve this, if we preserve this, the generations coming will actually enjoy as much as I am. And at the same time, it's not only about conservation, it's about creating those better livelihoods for the community. And when I do it, I have this high sense of fulfillment. Just for the fun part of it, I'll tell you that initially I studied industrial metallurgy, but it was not for me. I finished, I graduated, but after I graduated, I said, no, this is not for me. Then I completely left. I didn't work. I started another 4-year undergrad in environmental management, environmental science, which was the start of my journey, because after that, I then did a master's in IWRM, which is Integrated Water Resources Management. And then after that, did an MBA, which was focused on environmental management. So like I'm telling you, for me, it bows down to that passion of trying to improve people's livelihoods using the environment. Looking at water and saying, okay, guys, this is a water body. You can conserve it. You can do fisheries. This is a water body. You can take out water and do your farming, but leaving some water for somebody else. Looking at a community and say, guys, let's manage our rangelands. Let's manage our rangelands properly so that we don't have erosion. Our cows are big enough for us to get that much amount of money. I'm sure you can see I'm passionate about it. I'm passionate.
Yes, that exactly. And I think what keeps it
Yeah.
off, despite the amazing energy that everybody can sense, for those that will be listening to this on our Spotify podcast, one of the things that clearly shows that Patience is passionate is that she is dressed in great print, looks like she is definitely one with nature, and not just advocating for the conservation, but definitely looks that she's one with it, in peace with it, and just as amazing and great as our wonderful wildlife here is. But Patience, it's been a pleasure talking to you about your work, about the importance of sort of, if you can call it, freshwater management, or a potential greater freshwater crisis that may be something that we're facing here. And it was very great to understand the successes, challenges as well. And with that, I'll let you say one last thing before we say goodbye here. But yeah, just any final remark that you have, Patience.
Thank you, Brian. The final remark that I can just say is I would like everybody to take note that water pollution doesn't have any boundaries. What we do here can affect somebody in Egypt. So make it a point, whatever you do, especially with water, don't do it because you think, okay, it's localized, it's gonna go away. Let's preserve our water resources. Let's preserve our natural resources, not only for us, but for our kids, for our grandkids, for our great grandchildren, and for everybody we have one earth and we're not gonna have another one. So let's keep it safe.
Right. You had it right here from Patience Makado, all the way from South Africa. Thank you so much, Patience. It has been lovely to tap your mind and also witness your wonderful energy.